3, 2, 1. Super bilingual. All right, who wants to start?
It could be something that works, but it's not the best kind of.
Okay, so you mean there's an alternative to the air pump? Okay, good. Of course, there's always something. There's always better ideas. We're not the brightest. That's what we come to schools. We come here to get your ideas because you guys are way smarter than us.
You would only get one bottle and then 3D printable.
Okay, so you can make it cheaper by reducing the amount of things that you buy. Sure, that's a good idea.
Make this one. Make this one.
Make this thing smaller. Okay.
Make this smaller.
Make this smaller. That's a good idea.
Reuse the seeds that's produced by the plants.
Okay, yeah, so we're thinking all about the system, and I think that's really good. You guys are coming up with great ideas. Yeah, check into coupons for sales of items on stores. Absolutely. You know, my girlfriend is a pro at finding things on sale. The other day, I was in the grocery store with her, and I found something that was 99 cents on sale. I thought I was being good. I picked it up, and she's like, whoa, what are you doing? Look at this. 88 cents on sale. The same thing, cheaper. So it's good to find things on sale. But what if I were to tell you,
What's on the roof of the school?
what if I were to tell you that you don't have to plug this in?
Solar panels?
Yeah.
But they don't.
What if you could run it off of a, what if you could run it off of a, what's those things that windmill, right? So there's other forms of energy other than just a current that you could plug in your wall. What's the best part about the sun and what's the best part about the wind? It's free, right? It comes up every day, it's reliable. It never shuts down, and it's free. So think about it. So in our office, guys, we actually took an air pump and we have been able to make it run off of a solar panel, which means that it costs us $0 to operate. And the best thing is that one air pump can actually power 2 systems. So think of it. So instead of just powering one system for $2.43 a day, you're powering 2 systems and at no cost. So do you guys agree with me that the idea behind 3Dponics, using 3D printed parts, recyclable components, and using very little energy to make food for ourselves and for our community is a great idea? Now, how many people want to learn right now how to put one of these things together?
Me?
All right. So I'm going to introduce you my friend James, and he's going to show you how to assemble a 3Dponics system. So give him a round of applause.
So, you guys are all super excited to be building these systems, and that's what we love to hear. And it's super duper easy to do it. I'm going to work my way through this. I've never done it in front of so many faces watching before, so let's hope I don't stumble and cut my hand open or something silly. So it's very important that this type of thing, you need a pair of scissors. Is preferable, but an X-Acto knife does work too. But we always have to remember that when we're using sharp knives, we have to be careful. Safety is important. It's good to have an adult with you because these types of things can have accidents sometimes, right? So bear with me as I have to cut open these bottles. I was trying not to make too much noise during the presentation, but everyone's already seen that we're 2-liter bottles away from growing our own food, right? So here is the basic ingredients. Is we have all the 3D printed parts on the table, and I'll hold them up as we go along. But I'm just going to start by cutting the bottles here, and you can see I have them turned upside down in cups. Now you'll see why in a little while. It's just a lot easier to turn a bottle upside down because they don't stand by themselves, so that's what the cups are all about. So as we cut the bottles, you can make them as tall or as short as you like. You can use whatever size bottles that you want. Some people have smaller pop bottles. They don't like the big 2-liter ones. And it really depends on what kind of plants you're growing. Because if you want to grow a really big vegetable plant, sure, you need a bigger pot, right? But if you're just growing, let's say, some mint or some whatever types of herbs that your parents like to use. So it's important to remember, too, that even though we are using recycled bottles, I heard you guys have the boomerang program. All plastic does get recycled, right? So even the parts that we're recycling, the recycled parts, it's important to make sure that we're not using too much waste, right?
Now, why do you guys think we keep those sleeves, the labels on the bottle?
So it's like protection from the water to get out.
Well, it's
Because
protect.
there's like a small little hole. It can
Well,
help keep the water in.
You got part of it. It's protection. But think about when plants are in the soil, and the roots are in the soil. What are they protected from?
They have
Shade. Yeah, they're protected from the sun, right? So in the same thing with hydroponics, you still need to protect the root system. So it's good to have some type of shield around the bottles, whether it's a label or whether you make one yourselves. That's a lot prettier than than those ones. It's important to protect them.
So we're going to make some holes in the sides of these bottles, and that's just to attach the zip ties so we can hang everything together. So like Charlie was saying about the labels and the sunshine, like it's very important that, remember, we're taking the plants out of their regular situation of being in dirt. So we have to remember that things like roots that are usually underground need to be protected from the sun, right? So I've got my 2 holes in the side here. We have our 3D printed parts. They have the threads right on the inside, so it makes the beautiful part about 3D printed parts is they're so customizable, and you can any need that you have, you can adjust the parts to be what you need, right? So the fact that we can screw them on and off just adds to the recyclability of it. So if you want to make a 100-foot high system, nothing's stopping you, right? So they screw right onto the end like this. And I'm just here. And these are kind of gray and boring, but there's a few you can see here are brightly colored, and the beautiful thing about 3D printing is you have the option. If your living room is orange, print in orange. If your living room is green, print in green, right?
So what do you guys think? So far, pretty easy?
Like, we're talking arts and crafts here. If I thought your parents wouldn't be able to do it, like, how could we ask you guys to do it, right? So, now we have our bottles, and all our lids are good to go. One of the beautiful things, like I was saying about 3D printing, is everything is customizable. Charlie showed you the conduit. Those are the nozzles. That's all you need to run the system. Some nozzles, and the conduit, and your pump, and your water, and you're good to go. But because we're protecting roots, because there's so many different options we have with our 3D printer, we can make accessories. So this is exactly the same type of job that the label's doing, but it's also made on a 3D printer.
And it's strong enough, it won't break when it drops.
So we, having 3D printers, being able to make anything that we want, can make these beautiful covers that not only can make it any beautiful color that you'd like, will also protect the roots from the sunshine. So we have a few of these, so we'll just add them into the system. So like that. So when we're taking dirt out of the equation, we have to replace it with something, right? So because of the way the system works, dripping through to other things, if you put dirt in it, it's going to clog up the whole works. So you have to make sure that you use something that works for plants' roots as well as for water drainage. So what we have here is a grow medium, is what it's called in the hydroponic world. There are lots of different things you can use: cocoa coir, gravel. These are clay balls. The idea is that it holds a certain amount of water so the roots can cling to it and absorb that nutrients and water, but at the same time it allows the water to pass through. So what that means is, because it's always watering, because it's always dripping and flowing through, first, it's always watering, so you never have to worry about it. Second, it will never dry out because it's always watering, right? So that just involves how many people have had their plants, their house plants. Your mom forgot to water them 1 week and then it ends up dead, and then you're like, oh, I forgot to water it. So we're just removing that type of work from the equation. It's so much easier this way, right?
So that would be a kind of inquiry. What other materials could you use here that would absorb water and keeps water absorbing, so it's something we can think of.
I want at least one suggestion from each group, so talk amongst yourselves, and we'll
What
be back
if
to
we
it.
add the material?
And same. Not